same things. Carbon pools and eagle wings, golden sand and Saturn rings. We are what light brings. We are walking stardust, lightning flash around us, riding on the love bus. We are what life brings. We are all connected by the air we breathe in, by the love we're feeling. We are all connected by the air we breathe in, by the love we're feeling. From Uganda to Italy, branches of the same tree, dancing leaves floating downstream. This is how creation sings. Here to be what we're meant to be. If one can see, we all can see, forming our reality. This is how creation sings. This is how creation sings. Connected, connected, connected. We are all connected by the air we breathe in, by the love we're feeling. We are all connected by the air we breathe in, by the love we're feeling. We are all connected by the air we breathe in, by the love we're feeling.
Good morning. Welcome to Unity of the Valley Spiritual Center. We are part of Unity Worldwide Ministries, and you can find us locally at 350 North Orchard Avenue in Vacaville, California. Let us begin today's service with a prayer from Reverend Dalia Adams.
Let us pray. Let us join our minds and our hearts, and let us acknowledge the power and presence that is God, that is always with us, always expressing through us and as us. We allow ourselves to feel this power and presence, and we are grateful. We are grateful for the infinite wisdom and guidance that we find in God's presence. We are grateful for the power and the strength that is ours through that presence and power that is God. And we are so grateful for the infinite love that enfolds us and brings us together. We envision this love growing and multiplying as it expresses through us. We see this love blessing each and every one of us, blessing everyone in our community, our greater community, our country, and on our planet. For love is a mighty healing power, and we allow ourselves to be enfolded in this love, and we see healing for all people. We see healing for our planet, and we are grateful. We are so grateful as we say thank you. Thank you, God. Amen.
My name is Gary Eisenberg, and it is my privilege and pleasure to be your service assistant on this Father's Day Sunday. Yes, it's Father's Day, and happy Father's Day to all the biological dads out there and to anyone who has given that daddy love and support to someone in their lives. Happy Father's Day. My father was the best. He told us every night at dinner to lead your life by the golden rule, and it has served me very well as I have raised my own two beautiful boys. So a shout out this morning to Nathan and Simon. I am so proud and honored to be your dad. Love you so much. I believe that Unity of the Valley Spiritual Center borrowed their mission statement from my father. Because just like my father, our center believes in the importance of transforming lives, inspiring growth, creating loving community, and shining the light of God. And that's what my dad did every single day of his life. Speaking of shining the light of God, this week, our Youth of Unity is involved in a very special event, a virtual regional rally. A virtual regional rally. And so they will be back next Sunday with their Zoom meeting, but not this Sunday. On this Father's Day, if you happen to have a dad present with you as you are watching the service, I want you to look that dad right in the eye, and I want you to tell that father, you are a beautiful child of God, perfect in every way. You are loved unconditionally, just the way you are. And if it's true for our dads and our fathers and those special people in our life who gave us that fatherly love and support, it must be true for ourselves as well. So let's say together, and take this in, I am a beautiful child of God, perfect in every way. I am loved unconditionally, just the way I am. And on this Father's Day, we have prayer chaplains that often serve us like fathers with their wise guidance, advice, and most important, their prayers. Our prayer chaplains are standing by to help you with any challenge that you may be going through or a loved one may be having, to sit with you virtually in prayer over this challenge. Please contact our prayer chaplains a simple email away at unityvv@pacbell.net. You'll be glad that you did. Prayer chaplains, I know that you're watching, and you so bless us with your presence. Thank you.
And I would like to take a moment now to say thank you to everyone who makes this service possible. First and foremost, thank you to each and every one of you who are participating from your homes. You make this service meaningful and very possible. I would also like to thank everyone who has been contributing financially, because that too helps us do this work. If you would like to contribute, this is a snapshot of our website and where the donate button is. And anything that you contribute to this service, we appreciate tremendously. I'd like to thank also our spiritual center manager, Teresa Meadows. She is a backbone for this that makes it all very possible. I want to thank our music directors, Narian and Janet, that provide the lovely music for this service. I'd like to thank our flower team that provides the amazing flowers on our altar, our service assistant, Gary Eisenberg, and then, of course, our production team. They do an amazing job. We have Mike Fincher on audio, John working on video. He's also the video editor and co-producer. And Gary Eisenberg, song movie creator, video editor, and co-producer. Thank you to each and every one of you.
Thank you. What I love about Unity of the Valley Spiritual Center is we do not have a specific dogma, but we do have principles that we try to live by. We have 5 principles, and the last principle happens to be one of my favorites, and it states that I put my love into action. We have a group of people at Unity of the Valley Spiritual Center who are putting their love into action for our dear beloved planet Earth. And because of their efforts, our center has been awarded with the Earth Care Congregation Program Certificate of Achievement Level C. This is to acknowledge that Unity of the Valley Spiritual Center has completed the 7 steps of the Earth Care Congregation Program and integrated an earth-oriented spirituality into its ministry. Because of this, the truth that God is everywhere present in creation is alive in the minds and hearts of our congregation and has been translated into their daily actions. We honor Unity of the Valley Spiritual Center for its vision of earth care and its commitment to walk upon our earth for the greatest good of all creation. Approved this day, the 1st of November, 2019, with very amazing official signatures from Unity Worldwide Ministries. So we are very proud to have this recognition because we know that there is this presence and this power that surrounds our planet and protects our planet and everyone on it. And so we state together the statement of faith together. There's only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, God the Good.
Deep joy, deep joy, deep joy. Deep joy, deep joy, deep joy. Got so tired of the rain and the gloomy, heading south with my roomie. She's just the best.
Leave behind Seattle weather, back up and drive to California together.
Every day we got fresh air and sunshine, and the people are so fine. Local food and wine, no complaints or need to censure. We got a sense of adventure here in California.
Hear the voice of our heart's desire. We used to sing so low, but now we have a choir.
We are finding our rhythm, just you and me, for all to see.
Come on, everybody. They got the Golden Gate Bridge in Fargo, sunny. I'm here with my honey, and we love the people.
Love the
We
people.
love the style.
Love the
We
style.
fit into the great big pile.
Making music with friends and kindred spirits, growing parsley and carrots, another battle won. Winter sunshine, hanging with the kiddies, no need for scarves or middies here in California.
Deep joy, deep
It's a beautiful
joy,
friendship here in California.
deep joy, deep joy. Hear the voice of our heart's desire. Deep joy, 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 deep joy. Here in California, deep joy. Whoa,
It's a beautiful friendship here in California.
California.
Good morning. My name is Reverend Dalia Adams, and it is my honor and my pleasure to be here with you this Sunday morning. I'd like to begin with a happy Father's Day. Fathers are amazing people, and they come in all kinds of shapes and sizes. They are the ones who are there for us when we are going through a growing phase, whether we're little or we're grown up. Jesus would call God Abba, which is Father. And whenever Jesus needed help with important challenges or transitions, he would turn to Abba, just like we turn to our fathers. I was told that when I was a baby, that whenever something was challenging me for whatever reason, I used to call my father Appa. I'd start calling Appa, Appa, Appa. And so there is that within us which reaches out to that person or presence that we call Father, even if we don't use the word all of the time. And then there are those moments when we ourselves step into the role of Father, where we help another. We guide them, we offer wisdom, we offer strength, we offer the encouragement that comes from a father's eyes when he looks upon a child, adopted or biological, and just knows and sees that Christ within them, the beauty within them. So fathers are so important, and happy Father's Day to each and every father, and to everyone who has or ever had a father, or whoever turned to God as Father. We celebrate all of that on Father's Day. I would also like to take a moment to honor Juneteenth, which was last Friday, but this entire weekend is a weekend of celebration. Juneteenth is the day we celebrate the end of slavery. And in this time, in what is happening in our country and around the world, it is the weekend to join together in a vision of justice for all and a world in which all people are honored and treated with love and respect. A vision that is a mighty vision to hold. But this is a wonderful time to do that. So let's join together and hold that vision, hold it in our hearts and in our minds. So today we are talking about change. And it really doesn't link that directly with peace, except when we move through change in a way that we remain centered in the truth of who we are. If we set out to create change, also in a spirit of surrender to that presence of God and that openness to guidance, when we live in change in that manner, that peace that passes all understanding remains in our hearts, and we can do this mighty work, and we can show up as that peaceful presence. But I was trying to talk about something else. I had another topic in mind. The only thing to talk about today is change. I mean, change is so present in every breath, in everything I see, in everything I experience. I spend my days planning changes. I turn on the TV and I listen about changes. When I settle down to meditate, I can feel the changes emerging within me. I listen to other people and I hear about change. I hear about the challenge or the joy of change, or both. So change is in the air, it's in our soil, it's in our hearts, it's in our minds, whether we realize it or not. And change is not always easy. Change can be a challenge. And sometimes we don't even realize that it's a challenge until it catches up to us. So it's good to be aware. One of the most difficult changes, one of the most stressful changes, according to research, is getting married. And you would think it would be so joyous that the change would offer no challenge. But change, whether it's for a joyous purpose or to overcome difficulties, whatever the reason for it, change ends up being that which has been labeled stress. In other words, it challenges us. The words that Google offered as synonyms, and there were many of them, and I selected the ones that I felt were relevant to what we're talking about. To change is to advance, to move forward in creating a dream or achieving a goal. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing. But it doesn't mean that it happens without challenge. Change is metamorphosis. And metamorphosis means the physical form changes, completely changes. Think of a butterfly that was once a caterpillar, and this caterpillar spins a cocoon, and it comes out in a completely different form. I'm told that that cocoon experience is not pretty. You know, for those who study the biology of it. In fact, it can appear to be quite violent. But that metamorphosis, that change in form, is a profound and wonderful and meaningful change. But again, there are challenges. I sometimes wonder if that butterfly, when it emerges, wants to go back down on the ground and crawl, because that's what's familiar. Or there was a book written by a man named Kafka named Metamorphoses, and in that book, I read it many years ago, so I could get some fine details wrong, but in that book, a man who was employed and went to work, he worked in an office, and I think he did something like accounting, which was very regular and predictable, and that was how he was used to living his life. And one day he woke up as a beetle. And when he woke up as a beetle, the only way he knew how to live was get up out of bed, get dressed, get his briefcase, and go to work. So that was the first thing he tried to do. Metamorphosis, when we change form in some way, means learning a new way of being, a new way of moving from one place to another. Change is also a shift. Our wonderful teacher Wayne Dyer talked about the inner shift that we need to be willing to make in our lives to create a meaningful, joyous, and fulfilling life. It's also transformation, and transformation is much like metamorphosis. The form of our existence changes. And then transmutation takes it further. Not only does the form change, but our very nature changes. Who we are changes. How we know ourselves changes. We have to change. We have no choice but to change. If we sat down one day and said, "That's it, I'm not changing anymore," we would not be able to do it. A child has to grow. An adult has to transform and transmute and become wiser, more experienced, have deeper understanding, have different skills. I grew up so shy and so afraid to talk in front of a person. I was quiet as a mouse for fear of talking to anyone. Without change, without metamorphosis, without transmutation, I wouldn't be here talking to you today. So we change because we live. We change because we are spiritual beings having a human experience, and that human experience is set in time. And over time we change. But sometimes we reach for changes. We have a vision of a change that we want to create or achieve. And then we have to advance forward even more deliberately, more intentionally. Because that too is a good thing, to create changes, to choose to change. Sometimes those changes are imposed. Like once upon a time, what feels like long, long ago in another land far away, but actually only 3 months ago, this little tiny being called a virus shut us down. And we didn't choose that change, but here we are, you know. And then that change created other changes. Change is also chemicalization, and this is a new thought word. It's a unity word, and one of our first authors, Dr. Emily Cady, wrote about it. She said, when we are changing, even when we're choosing the change, when we want the change, we go through periods of time when we feel sick to our stomachs, literally. It feels so bad. Sometimes our entire body aches and our head hurts and we can't sleep. And there is an unrest inside that feels like it's going to do us in. But it's just that process of being in the cocoon. Just like that caterpillar where we're feeling almost like our insides are being wrenched right out of us. But it's a transformation process. It's during that time that we need to stay the course and remember that this will pass and hold to the truth, which is, as Gary teaches us, that we are beautiful children of God. And that even in this experience, we are perfect in every way. We don't say that the caterpillar is perfect and the butterfly is perfect, but when that caterpillar is being wrenched inside and out in the cocoon, we don't say, but that little critter's not perfect then. There is a perfection in each step of the change. And the same for us. When we're going through those transmutations, when we're going through those metamorphoses, when we're experiencing the chemicalization, even in those moments, we are beautiful children of God. We are an expression of the divine life that breathes through us in each and every moment. So change disrupts our cognitive maps. And this is from my being in graduate school for psychology. I had one teacher that loved talking about this. What he said is, we get up in the morning, we do our morning routine, brush our teeth, take a shower, whatever it is, have breakfast, we get in our cars or on the BART or wherever it is. We go to travel and we travel to our workplace. And mostly we don't have to think about any of that. It's effortless because in our minds, in our brains, there's this map that tells us what to do. But if one morning we would wake up as a beetle, we would have to create a brand new map because that map would not work. Or if one morning we woke up and it was Sunday, and we could not go to the facility we have called our church or our spiritual center, we would have to stand back and there would be the sense of, now what do I do? How do I live this moment? My map doesn't work for me anymore. And having a map in place is so easy and smooth and effortless. But to operate without a familiar map, a cognitive map, takes effort and thought and decision making every step of the way. Change not only disrupts our cognitive maps, but it disrupts our sense of who we are and what we are. I've heard from so many people as they've been going through the shelter-in-place experience that most of the time I'm doing fine, but then there are days when I feel disoriented and I'm not sure why I'm here and what I'm doing. And it doesn't have to be just the current pandemic. Sometimes we lose someone we love, someone we've shared our days with. And that can disrupt our sense of who we are. That love that we share with a person when another makes a transition doesn't go away. We hold the love in our hearts, but that routine, the sharing of the day, the conversations we're used to having, when that is not there, we have to come to know ourselves in a new way. And change disrupts our sense of what we've been calling normal. And I know many people have heard or thought about or read the fact that there might not be such a thing as normal. But the thing is, before this change comes into our lives, we really do believe that there is something normal about who we are and what we do. Like that normal, whatever we call it, needs to be there for our lives to go on. Well, normal can be different. 1 year normal is this, another year normal is this, another year normal is that. So normal is not the defining criteria. And to realize that can really shake us up. This is why it's always important. Last week we talked about returning to peace, returning to truth, returning to love. When we're going through all this and that chemicalization, when we return to the truth of who we are, when we return to that peace that passes all understanding, when we return to love, which is really, really the truth of our being, for God is love. God is that infinite love that enfolds us, moves through us, makes us one. When we return to that love, those situations that seem to demand that we grumble no longer demand the grumble. We realize that all of those things that are changing, including that which is changing within us, is all doing what it's doing, but that core of our being, our oneness with God, changes not. And I borrow that from Saint Teresa, who had a poem then turned into a song, "Let nothing disturb you, let nothing affright you. All things change, but God changes not." So we return to God, to the love, the peace, the power, the truth that is God. There's a song by a New Thought musician. It's called "Something is Calling Me," and that's, I think, a picture of the album. And in the song, he keeps repeating, "Something is calling me." And that's the truth. When we are moving through changes, there is always something calling us to be greater, to be smarter, to understand more deeply, to love more powerfully. Something is always calling us if we listen. But he keeps repeating, "Something is calling me," and then the lyrics go on and he sings, "And it feels like I'm walking on marbles." I love that line, because for me, when I'm really in the midst of big change, lots of change, I find myself, where I had solid footing before, it's not there anymore. And I take a powerful step, and that which used to hold me up is different. So there's this feeling of walking on marbles. And I remember his song, and I'm there, it's just one of those moments. That the footing, the ground beneath my feet, is that presence of God. The rest is extra. The rest is just extra. So here's a story of change. This is a picture of our spiritual center facility. This is the building. And the second week in March, we were inside that building. And we were not thinking twice about anything. We were laughing, we were eating, we were singing, we were praying, we were hugging. And the talking was so loud you could barely hear yourself think sometimes. But it was beautiful. It was a celebratory experience. And this is a picture of some of the singing that was going on in our sanctuary. Some of the eating, that was actually a tea that we shared in, but that's kind of how it looks when everyone's sitting around eating and enjoying each other's company. And then this tiny, tiny, tiny critter, so tiny, showed up in many numbers, and then it looked like this. Still beautiful, but you know what that drives home is that this spiritual center, our community, whether you used to come to this building or whether you've joined us online, is not dependent on that. It's the love we have in our hearts. It's our commitment to the mission of this spiritual center, the mission to transform lives, beginning with our own, to inspire growth in ourselves and others, to be a loving community, whether we can physically touch or not, and to shine the light of God wherever we are, whatever we're doing, even if we're in that cocoon, feeling the pain of it all, to know that we are shining the light of God. And so this is what we look like now, instead of a crowd in the building, that's all digitally done, and we are actually on the physical platform, but there's a team that puts it together and creates it into a Sunday service. Talk about change. Talk about change. And it's such a beautiful change in some ways because, sitting in a building is wonderful and it's beautiful, and I truly am looking forward to that. But that's not the way of the future. Being able to meet online and to expand our walls to the entire world, that's the 21st century. That's moving into the future. That's allowing our church community to move from caterpillar to butterfly, allowing our services to fly around the globe, and to allow ourselves to learn to love people we've never seen face to face. Now, we'll still come together again, some of us. But now we have to think of ourselves differently. We have to feel a different identity. Our walls are beautiful, but we are no longer limited by our walls. When I first started thinking that, I didn't feel any joy, I just felt terror. Today there is a joy in it that it amazes me. Because I could not have done this. Even our team could not have done this without that creative power of God moving through us and leading this community into something greater and bigger with more possibilities. And this is how we've been coming together, waving at the end of the service. People at home on Zoom and sending in little videos. And so we will find more and more ways of allowing our virtual community to come together. We will find more and more ways of allowing our identity, the way we know ourselves, to grow and expand. Still keeping some of those things we really love so much. But the thing is, when we come back together, it seems like it's going to be July 5th, and I only hesitate because there are things happening in our county. And the public health department is sending up some warnings. But assuming we meet on July 5th, there are going to be differences. You got a letter in the email, and the little bit on top is how it starts. And in that first sentence, it says, exciting news of our July 5th, 10 a.m. opening. But when you gather, when those who will gather in this building, when those of you gather, this is going to be part of the new circumstance, temporarily. But then we don't know how long temporary is, right? There will be masks. Right now, guidelines are not to have food, not to have drink. We will have to create new ways of sharing joy and love. Because, man, we got so used to doing that, hugging and eating. But those aren't the only ways of loving each other. So make sure you read your letter and come with an open heart. Come knowing that any discomfort you might feel is this chemicalization that just says you're growing. You're becoming more, you're becoming wiser, you're becoming greater. And this is such a huge change. Imagine, just try to imagine that would have been the only big change you've had to deal with in the last 3 months. This virus and its impact. Just imagine that the only real challenge you faced since the middle of March was learning how to adapt and change because of this virus. Does everyone feel like this huge sense of relief? Like a mountain is being... Because as big, that would have been enough. And that would have been enough for years and years. The memories, the stories, the recovering from it, the learning from it. But all we have to do is read a newspaper, turn on a TV, go online, and there are huge, huge changes happening all around the world, just like this virus is all around the world. And these changes come from a place of huge pain, of huge loss, a history of injustice. And it's brought thousands and thousands and thousands of people out who are saying, we want change, we want to create change, we want to see justice for all people. We want to come together, people of different races and backgrounds, geographical locations. We want to come together and know our oneness. That's a huge change. So you don't get the luxury of maneuvering only through the virus. You don't get the luxury of only dealing with your church building closed. You have to find out, where do you fit in all of this? What is yours to do within you? And is there any action you're being called to do around you? It's almost like taking a caterpillar and creating a butterfly, but having that butterfly at the same time transforming into a rabbit, you know? It's big. We have to honor how big these changes are, because we have to take care of ourselves. We have to recognize what that knot in our stomachs is at times, and that it's okay until, like Myrtle Fillmore, our co-founder, to love our bodies through it. And to open to that which we are learning. To open to that which is transforming us and maybe even transmuting us in the midst of it. Change is nothing to sneeze at. Change is something to be honored, and it is the very basis of human life. We grow, we change, we become, and more we become the light of God shining. And it's those big changes, the big challenges, that give us a step up, a huge step up in being the light of God. And then to add to all of that, has anybody gotten the playbook? In other words, has anyone received, okay, so we're opening the church on such and such date, and on such and such date we can ditch the masks, and then on such and such date there will be a brand new world order where new ways of offering justice for all will be there. And on such and such date, we don't know how long this is going to take. We don't know what it's going to demand of us. We don't know how many setbacks we're going to have to deal with and then come back forward. We don't know if we're in this for the next 3 months, 3 years, 10 years. I'm not saying that it's going to be that long, but truth is, we don't know. And we don't know if another challenge might not enter. So we've got to juggle even more things. I was talking to a very good friend. She's African American. She's a minister. And we were talking about other stuff, and then it hit me. I mean, in the beginning of conversations, I say, her name is Diana, and she's the minister of Unity of San Leandro. And we would always say, how are you, when we begin a conversation. I said, but Diana, I never really asked you, how are you? How are you doing with all of this? I go, my heart breaks when I watch some of the violence that's portrayed on the streets. My heart breaks for the people who have been killed. I said, but what's this like for you? This has got to be much worse for you. And she said, no. She goes, it's worse for you. And I was kind of curious. And what she said to me is, from the time I was little, I was told that the vision that we're holding, the changes we're creating, it's going to be the long haul. From the very time I was little, I knew to expect that the work we're called to do is the long haul. So when there's a step back, I know that's just part of the long haul. When the pain hasn't gone away quite yet, I know it's part of the long haul. And we talked some more, and I thought about it, and I know that the only way we hold our creative power in the midst of all of this and manage to see it as the long haul is if we use that creative power within us. And we've been taught that the vision that we hold is what we manifest. So doing the long haul is staying strong in our vision, no matter how many steps back it takes, to let go of the grumbling and to hold the vision, to stay in faith that the highest good is now unfolding, no matter how it looks, and then to take the action that we are called to do that which we are guided to do when we go into the silence. So I learned that if I'm going to make it through this and maybe even be a butterfly at the other end, I need to learn what my friend knows how to do, to be in it for the long haul, to hold the vision, to stay in faith, and to do the footwork that is mine to do. I don't know who said this, but I've heard it often, that the most dangerous phrase in the language is, we've always done it this way. That could kill the power and the beauty of change, of the creative process. And then this is one of my favorite sayings about change, and it's from Mahatma Gandhi: be the change you want to see in the world. So allow that chemicalization, allow those moments, but when it's all said and done, commit to the long haul, hold your vision, stay in faith, do the footwork, and be the change you want to see in the world. Namaste.
As we enter this time of meditation, I invite you to become still. I invite you to take your favorite meditation posture and let the music of Narayan and Janet enter your heart. Fill your heart as we now center within.
Oh, beloved divine mother. Oh, beloved divine mother. Your light is shining. Your light is shining. Oh, beloved divine mother. Oh, beloved divine mother. is shine. Your light is shine. You are 1,000 suns. You are 1,000 moons. You are 1,000,000 stars. You light up my soul. Oh, beloved divine mother. Oh, beloved divine mother. Your light is shine. Your light, your light is shine. You are 1,000 suns. You are 1,000,000 stars. You light of my soul.
We go deeper now into our time of meditation. We allow our bodies to relax. We allow all burdens to gently slip off our shoulders and for a little while fall to the ground. And as we relax into this moment, I invite you to focus your attention on the movement of your breath. Notice how you breathe in, and notice how you breathe out. Notice how your breath feels when you breathe in. Notice how it feels when you breathe out. Then keep your attention on the rhythm and the movement of your breath. And notice how each breath takes you deeper within. How your breath carries you to the very center of your being. To that sacred space within you where you know the presence of God. The powerful, loving, wise presence that is God. And amidst all of the changes, God's presence is unchanging. So for a little while, simply breathe and know that wherever you are, God is. And in this very moment, God is breathing you. So I invite you to take a few moments in that sacred space and be in the presence of God. Be in the presence of God in the silence. God is the very breath I breathe. God is the source of all that I am and all that I have. God is the unchanging presence that allows me to move through all the changes that I face. So holding the affirmation that God is my unchanging presence, holding that affirmation in your heart, allow yourself to gently and easily bring your attention back to this room, back to this time and this place, back to the now moment. Take one more nice deep breath. Feel the ground beneath your feet, and when you're ready, go ahead and open your eyes. And affirm with me, God is my unchanging presence. And so it is.
It is time for the offering portion of our service. And many of you, as you watch the service, are thinking, what can we get Gary for Father's Day? Well, I'll tell you what you can get me for Father's Day. How about increasing your tithe just a little bit extra for me this week? That would truly make me happy. Because as we state together, God's love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am and have, all that I give and receive. I am grateful. And as you go to that orange donate button that Reverend Dalia was talking about earlier in the service, you keep our center alive and well and thriving. Thank you so much for your financial gifts. As we give in love, because we love to give, it's just amazing how apparent our prosperity and abundance comes into our life. We are dancing in that flow of giving and receiving. And we state together the truth that the inexhaustible resource of spirit is equal to every demand. There is no reality in lack. Our abundance is here and now manifest. And so it is. Amen. Please join with me in the singing of our peace song. We belong together. For so long we have been physically distant, but we have remained spiritually close. And it is with such gladness that I can announce that we have a tentative reopening date for our facility on July 5th. This is a tentative date. Please check our website and your email for further information. But isn't it exciting that we are getting close to being physically together again? I can't wait, and I will be so happy to see you, masks and all. The one thing that binds us together as a spiritual family perhaps might be the prayer for protection. Let's say that together. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. We are one holy family. We celebrate our oneness and honor our diversity.
So we end our service with this affirmation: be the change you want to see in the world. So join with me in affirming together: be the change you want to see in the world. Have a beautiful week. Hold those words in your heart throughout the week. Namaste. Amen.
And as we close today's Sunday service, I want to give many, many thanks to our beloved Reverend Dalia Adams for another wonderful message and meditation. We are so blessed to have you as our senior minister. And thank you for joining us this Sunday. And instead of saying goodbye, I would like to start the waving of the hellos. It's not too late to send in your waving video, so please do at unityvv@pacbell.net. So on this Father's Day, once again, happy Father's Day, all my fellow dads. Hi.
Hello, I love you.
Hello.
They're all connected.
We love you.
They're all
Valley.
connected.
And miss
Wait,
everybody.
By the
We'll be
air
together
we
again
breathe.
soon.
Hi.
I just want to thank you.
I love the choir.
Hi. How is everybody? Hi.
Wave. Like you're waving to the congregation saying, I love you.
I love you. I love you.
Yes.
I love you. I love you.
Namaste, everybody. And I don't know if we're supposed to have video on this.
I know.
So we have to wave for 20 seconds. Send love to everyone out there that you want to send love to. Yeah. Send kisses. There we go. Okay, keep waving a couple more seconds. There we go. All right. Thank you all so, so much.
Say hi, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
How are you?
How are you? I'm fine.
We miss you.
Miss
We
you.
miss you.
Miss you.
We think about you.
Think about you.
We hold you in our
Watch in
hearts.
my hearts.
And we'll see you soon.
I'm too soon.
See you soon.
I'm too soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Guys.
Mwah.
Mwah.
Oh.
Shante, Shante, Shante.
Namaste.